Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast, the place where we break down everything soccer, from big leagues to international chaos.
And today we're talking about one of the biggest soccer questions right now. Will Italy actually make the World Cup this time?
Bro, every cycle with Italy is stress. Like they're either winning the whole thing or barely surviving qualification drama.
Exactly. 1 minute they're champions of Europe. Next minute, people are asking if they're even going to qualify for the World Cup. No in between.
So today, we're breaking it all down. Squad, form, competition, tactics, and whether Italy fans should be confident or just ready for heartbreak again.
Let's get into it. Okay, first things first. We need to explain why this is even a discussion. Italy is literally a powerhouse nation.
Right, 4 World Cup titles, legendary teams, Maldini, Pirlo, Totti, Buffon, like the list is insane.
But the problem is recent history. They didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup, which was a massive shock.
Bro, that was one of the biggest soccer disasters ever. Like, Italy missing a World Cup just feels wrong.
Then 2022 happened, and it happened again. They lost in the qualifiers and didn't make it.
2 World Cups in a row missing. That's why people are so nervous now. Even though they're good, there's still doubt.
And it's not like they're a bad team. They literally won the Euros in 2021.
Yeah, that's the confusing part. How do you win Europe and then struggle to qualify for the world stage?
It comes down to consistency. Italy can be elite in tournaments, but qualifying is a long grind.
And that's where the pressure is now. Every qualifying match for them feels like a final. All right, let's talk about the current squad, because honestly, Italy has some serious talent right now.
For sure. Starting with defense, that's always Italy's identity. Even if everything else struggles, the defense is usually solid.
Yeah, they've still got that classic Italian defending mindset. Strong structure, disciplined positioning, all that.
And the midfield is actually pretty creative now. They're not just defensive anymore.
Exactly. They've got players who can control tempo, pass under pressure, and actually push forward.
But the biggest question is attack. That's where things get shaky.
Yeah, they don't really have that consistent world-class striker right now like they used to.
Back in the day, it was like Inzaghi, Balotelli moments, even older legends like Vieri. Now it's more spread out.
So they rely more on teamwork rather than one superstar scoring 30 goals a season.
Which isn't bad, but in tight qualifying games, you sometimes need that one guy to just finish chances.
That's where Italy sometimes struggles. They dominate possession, but don't always kill games off.
Let's get into tactics, because Italy's style has actually changed a lot over time.
Yeah, they used to be super defensive, like Gattuso style. Sit back, defend, counterattack.
Now they're trying to be more modern. Higher press, more ball control, faster transitions.
But the transition isn't always smooth. Sometimes they're stuck between old-school defense and modern attacking play.
That's actually a good way to describe it. They're evolving, but not fully finished evolving.
And that can be dangerous in qualification, because inconsistent systems lead to inconsistent results.
Exactly. One game they look like world beaters, next game they struggle to break down smaller teams.
But defensively, they're still very hard to beat. That's what keeps them alive in most games.
So basically, Italy rarely gets destroyed, but they sometimes struggle to win convincingly.
All right, the big question. Are they actually going to make the World Cup?
I think the answer is yes, but not easily.
That's fair. Nothing is ever easy for Italy in qualification.
They're usually competing in tough groups with teams that are very physical and aggressive.
And sometimes those games are more about mentality than skill.
Exactly, and Italy has had moments where pressure gets to them.
Like the 2017 playoff loss that knocked them out. That was brutal.
Yeah, and that kind of history sticks with a team. Even new players feel that pressure.
But on the positive side, Italy always shows up when it matters most in big tournaments.
It's true, they might struggle early, but they usually figure it out.
So if I had to predict, I'd say they qualify, but maybe not in first place in their group.
Maybe second place, maybe even going through playoffs again depending on the format.
And that's where things get stressful for fans again.
Italy fans never get a peaceful qualification cycle. Never.
Let's talk about players who could decide whether Italy makes it or not.
Yeah, starting with defense again, they've got young center backs stepping up.
Those players are going to be important because keeping clean sheets is half the battle.
In midfield, they've got creative players who can unlock defenses, which is huge in tight games.
And honestly, midfield might be their strongest area right now.
Agreed, but again, the final third is where everything comes down to.
They need someone who can consistently score in qualifying matches.
Even if it's not one superstar, it needs to be multiple players contributing goals.
Because relying on one striker in modern football is risky.
And Italy is trying to adapt to that reality.
Now we gotta look at competition. Because Europe is brutal for qualification.
Yeah, you've got teams like France, England, Spain, Portugal, all stacked.
Even mid-tier teams are super dangerous now.
Exactly. There are no easy games in European qualifying anymore.
And Italy sometimes struggles against those organized mid-tier teams.
Like teams that sit back, defend deep, and counterattack.
Which is ironic because Italy used to be the masters of that style.
Yeah, now they have to break down what they used to be.
That's actually a crazy storyline when you think about
We
it.
also need to talk about pressure, because Italy is one of those nations where expectations are always massive.
Yeah, fans don't accept almost qualified. It's either you make it or it's a disaster.
And media pressure in Italy is intense too. Every result gets analyzed heavily.
One draw feels like a crisis sometimes.
That can affect players, especially younger ones.
But it can also motivate them. Some players thrive under that pressure.
And Italy has a history of stepping up when it matters.
Right, final question. Yes or no, is Italy making the World Cup?
I'm saying yes, but it won't be comfortable. I think they qualify, but fans are stressed the whole way.
I agree. Italy is too talented and too experienced to miss 3 World Cups in a row.
But I also think they're not back to full dominance yet.
Yeah, they're in that rebuilding but still dangerous phase.
So they're not the easiest team to watch right now, but they're still a team nobody wants to face.
Exactly, and if they do qualify, I think they could actually surprise people in the tournament.
Italy always has that ability. Even when people doubt them, they show up.
All right, that's going to wrap today's episode of the Final Whistle podcast.
Make sure to subscribe. Drop your predictions. Do you think Italy will make the World Cup?
And we'll see you next episode. Peace.
Peace.